In this instance, when he puts it like that, it makes sense.
Of course it does. Hey, Devin. Goodbye, my old friend. Thanks for all the advice.
Bye-bye.
So now what?
Now we keep a low profile and get on with our lives.
As friends.
Well, do I have a choice?
No, not really.
All right, then. As, flawed, awful, totally uncomfortable, and poorly matched friends. Absolutely.
Oh, that's perfect. Then we can get back to the kind of capitalism we practice.
Shit, I don't know how much more better that is than Devin's kind.
Ooh, hypocrisy, Franklin. Civilization's greatest virtue.
Jesus, your therapist has a lot to answer for.
I know, I still hate myself. But hey, at least I know the words for it now.
Yeah, but I hate you, and I know the words for it. So does that mean I don't have to go to therapy?
Look, man, you two motherfuckers terrify me of that middle age. I'm good.
You're right to be afraid, Franklin.
Yeah.
Be very afraid.
To be afraid, Franklin. Yeah. Be very afraid.
Franklin.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Whispy Woodz. In this video, you guys, we're going to do our best at understanding and decoding GTA's endings. Now, in the last preview of this episode, I made a few things note, and that was not only are the game's words within the soundtrack and a lot of the different scores and musical numbers within the game are telling us certain things. One thing I want to be note here is the fact that numbers, dates, and a lot of things that have to do within cinema are all tied within this mystery, and I made that note several times and time again. But this is only going to drive us into a stronger clue as to what we know we are trying to find here. 74, was left here for a reason with an emphasis. I want you guys to understand 74 and why it's relevant. I want you to realize these options. One is called option A, kill Trevor. The other is option B, kill Michael. And then the other one is called option C,
Death wish.
Okay, now I want you to realize and ask yourself one question. Why is it death wish when really the point is to kill Devin? So why wouldn't it say option C, kill Devin? Think about it. Now, what I want you to think about is, once again, the number 74 and why the clue in option B, is connected to another clue within option C, and that is the name Death Wish. Now, what we're looking at here is a film called
Death wish.
Now, I want you to realize there is a huge relevancy within understanding this movie, but only for us to understand deeper clues. Death Wish is a 1974 movie. 74. So realize that's two endings, you guys. Death Wish, option C, and option B, killing Michael, as a clue towards 1974. So realize we would have understood this regardless of which way we went in those routes. And it's partly due to the fact that this film has been considered a cult film that has generated a strong following among fans of vigilante films, who regard it as one of the first films to introduce
The pedestrian vigilante.
Now, I want you guys to realize the connection here. Vigilante mode has literally been in every single game up until the HD universe. Now realize this is a big part of their historics and a big part of the message that they're relaying within karma and the right things to do when we see the wrong things happening. No different than seeing someone being robbed and we have a choice to acquire something as greed or to help someone. Now, this is part of understanding the strangers and freaks, but a big part of that segregation is understanding a freak. Now, in this movie, Charles Bronson, the star of it, plays Paul Kersey, okay? Another implication to understanding another Paul, okay? This would have only brought us into more segregative clues within names, even Michael or even Dino, as we have brought up before.
Another great Dino Brewster. Great Dino Brewster. Y'all know Dino.
Y'all know Dino.
Went on to racing the big legs at Indy.
Now, when they talk about Dino Brewster... But again, you guys, we're here to understand Death Wish for more reasons than one. And I want you to realize that a lot of these clues, once again, tying right back into aspects of the game that we have, is tying things like Vigilante, something in the past of GTA, and tying it to things that we have in GTA 5, like a stranger and a freak. But most importantly, a freak. Played by Mr. Jeff Goldblum. Now, I want you to understand exactly why I'm bringing this man up within this whole grand scheme here. And Jeff Goldblum, you guys, I'm not kidding, is a key person in this mystery. There are several key people, but he is one of them, and I'm here to show you exactly why Jeff Goldblum would have ultimately brought us into deeper clues regardless of how we understood them. You know what I find really funny, you guys? The fact that I made an episode called Purple, Blue, Cyan, Red, Gold, and Green. And I made this weeks ago, okay? July 13th, all right? But what's even funnier is the fact that I put in the description, not a description, but a quote. And it said, "Clever bird." Now, I wonder how many people took their time to understand that a bird is not necessarily a bird, but also tied to clues, God, girls, and even dinosaurs. Is that the Pyrenees is a genus of birds in the raptor subfamily. The raptor subfamily. I'm pretty sure a lot of you don't know who this character is. Okay. His name, alright, is Steve fucking
Scott. Okay? So I want you to understand.
Now, understanding that Steven Spielberg would have took us into a directive of clues like Jurassic Park, and understanding that he starred in 2 out of the several Jurassic Parks in the series, we need to realize that these clues all tie within understanding certain ones. And it's no different than understanding Independence Day and why a lot of the alien clues within this game are all tied within one and another. Now, even Mr. Bill Pullman, okay, is a directive clue towards a lot of the things that he has been in, whether Spaceballs or even Casper. They're all tied within clues that we have seen within the game that have to do with either the paranormal or understanding certain science fiction towards aliens. Now, before I move on with, once again, a big part of these clues, I want you to realize a connection here. Ned Luke, okay, the actor who plays Michael DeSanta. He actually has done a lot of things, but one thing that he's noted for is playing on Law and Order, the Special Victims Unit. Very interesting. Now I'm going to show you exactly why this is interesting and connective. Here we have Mr. Julian Gamble, okay, who plays Davey within GTA 5, and what's pretty interesting about him is that he even was on Law and Order. Interesting. Here we have Mr. Demosthenes, who played Simeon within GTA 5, and he played within Law and Order as well. Brian Scott Johnson, aka Dr. Friedlander, from GTA 5 also has a past history with the show Law and Order. Now, what we're going to do here is reveal some aspect of a truth tied to Law and Order, and that is connectivity, okay, towards clues. Rockstar, okay, something as simple as their name, Rockstar, connected to a clue that we have been gaining relevancy towards is understanding something together, okay, and that is an episode named Rockstar, but this episode is the 157th episode, okay, overall.
When in fact, it's only 157 years old. Fact.
Now, I want you to realize that this is very relevant, okay, because it all stems right back into this man, Mr. Jeff Goldblum. Now, for those of you wondering if I just showed you some complete and utter bullshit connected to nothing, I want you to realize something. The first house in the game that you step foot in, you guys, is Franklin's. Now, guess what? One of the first things implied here is a character for you to pay attention to that is tied to the old GTA games, the 3D universe, Mad Dog. Now, once again, why would they be tying a character from the 3D universe and the HD universe? That's not the only thing here. Mad Dog was once again a clue, and it was implied several different times whether we wanted to pay attention to it or not. Mad Dog, okay, is a character, and he was played by somebody far more important. And as you see, GTA San Andreas, okay, Mr. Mad Dog was played by a very notable character and a very notable actor and or rapper, and his name is Ice-T. Now, I want you guys to realize the relevancy here within Ice-T, you guys. Alright? Law and Order is one of the most noted shows that he is actually on right now. Understanding that Mr. Jeff Goldblum is a lot more relevant in more ways than one, we need to realize that one of his first movies, okay, The Fly, is very relevant in more ways than one. And we need to realize that even the smallest wording of the clues here are to be understood in a grander spectrum of understanding certain things. Now, I know I say understand a million times, but it's so that we can get a process of what we are to gain as in knowledge and not find as in a physical thing, because these physical items are only gained by understanding the knowledge that is in front of them. And it's no different than understanding Marnie when she says this.
Last night, I went to 47,000 places at the same time.
And why that clue would have made us understand a few things as to not only metaphors towards time travel, but also metaphors towards teleportation. And in the movie The Fly, they use telepods that allows instantaneous teleportation. Now, am I saying we're going to get a teleporter? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the clues within the words are the ones driving us into deeper cinema clues that are revealing deeper truths. If you have never seen The Fly, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis as to what it is. Jeff Goldblum within the movie plays a scientist who is in love with Gina Davis. Now, throughout the movie, he tries really hard to get one of his most noted projects, okay, the telepod, to actually work. Now, he has to decide whether or not he's going to test it himself or keep using live animals. But he would not get the same results. So him trying it himself actually resulted in an accident, there being a fly hidden within one of the telepods as he used it. Him traveling with the fly into the other telepod morphed his DNA into a half man, half fly. Now, within Paleto Bay, the place that we have most noted within the mystery to be represented as the egg, among other universal clues, is this the reason why there's a hamburger sign, okay, a famous hamburger sign that actually randomly says Jeff for no reason? Or is this the reason why they have a very blatant fly tattoo on Trevor? Now, for those of you who wonder what else this sign actually reveals, I want you to understand that I'm not actually done decoding a bit of it, but I want you to realize that there are several bits of this clue that still point to Jeff Goldblum, and a lot of the clues that would have directed us in that path, or either the path that understood the clues from before. Now, the first thing I want to point your attention to here is that they have a series of numbers written, okay? These numbers are 1939-0. Now, we're going to take them upon themselves first before we understand and do a little segregating and rearranging. So what I've done here is very simply put in this number 1939-0 within a zip code, and it actually came up as West Grove, PA, or West Grove, Pennsylvania. Now, I want you to understand why this is relevant, okay? I brought up Pennsylvania before, and it was in the form of Philadelphia, and why it relates to, once again, the Liberty Bell. Now, I want you to realize this clue is in the place that has the crack of the Liberty Bell, okay? This same clue, directing us into that path. Now, I want you to understand the segregation from West Grove and Pennsylvania, because we will be getting back to why they're supposed to be segregated and understood. Now, what I feel as though is going on here is we have a number and a letter, okay? Now, it says J6. Now, I want you to realize something. This could just be Jeff. It could just mean Jeff, okay? That's it. That's the whole name. But understanding that this is an abbreviation of a bigger word is possibly what they are trying to show us, because if we were to understand this person as just Jeff, then maybe it wouldn't link up to the complete clue. So I think they gave us a confirmation within which Jeff it actually is, and why it relates to the full name of Jeff rather than just Jeff. Now, what I mean by this is J6, okay? Now, what I mean by J6 is the fact that Jeff Goldblum is not necessarily his full real name, okay? We need to understand that, once again, origins of words and understanding where the words had come from is a big part of understanding these clues. Jeff, okay, is not just his name. We could have been confused looking at a bunch of different Jeffs in the world, but understanding that this relates to his full name, okay, among others, like Jeffrey, okay, J-E-F-F-R-E-Y, 6, J6. Think about it. Now, as for FIGO down here, now I want you to understand that, yes, this could segregate and rearrange into several different things, but once again, we're going to take upon what it says naturally before we understand the deeper clues and realize that FIGO could stand for something. When we understand FIGO as an abbreviation, we can come to some conclusions as to what FIGO could possibly mean and why it relates to 3 possible things that all tie together, like an International Federation of Gynecology and Obstetrics. Now, understand, all of this amounts to basically gynecologists. Now, understand, gynecology is the science of women. Now, we need to realize that ovaries, okay, and female reproductive organs and even the reproductive organs of men, all these things have to tie within not only dirty jokes, but understanding the mystery and how some of the double entendres lie. But that's only half of the battle. We need to realize that ovaries, okay, are a big part of certain answers and certain clues. Now, aside from eggs and understanding that gynecologists have a lot to do with human reproduction, okay, we need to understand that in a play called Domesticated, okay, with Jeff Goldblum, he actually played a person named Bill, okay? And Bill Pulver is a gynecologist turned politician, okay? So once again, Jeff tied to a FIGO, a gynecologist. Very interesting. So now that we've understood some relevant clues within Jeff Goldblum, we need to realize an earlier clue. West Grove, Pennsylvania, okay, is a big implication to why we needed to pay attention to Pennsylvania in a whole and the Liberty Bell being tied to Philadelphia. And it's no different than realizing where Mr. Jeff Goldblum was born in West Homestead, Pennsylvania. So realize, you guys, these clues driving right back into Philadelphia are very relevant. Now, once again, I have not fully decoded every bit of this, so I'm going to leave this open to interpretation until we completely confirm it. Okay, confirm a lot of everything. So far, we are just picking up a lot of the clues that lie within plain sight and understanding. So far, JDO and this %0 and Y are still misunderstood, and we need to gain them along the way. But even for the sake of segregation and even rearranging, we can understand that these numbers, okay, 1939, segregated and rearranged as 1993, can give us some clues when put together with Jeff. Now, once again, understanding 1939, 0, segregating 0, switching 9 and 3, understanding them as backwards, and realizing truth, and matching it with another clue such as Jeff, we can gain Jeff in 1993. And Jeff Goldblum in 1993 starred in Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg. Very interesting.
To be afraid, be very afraid. To be afraid, be very afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Now, before you leave your dislike, I want you to realize something. The origin of this phrase, okay, be afraid, be very afraid, came from The Fly, okay? It came from The Fly. I'm not making this shit up, you guys. Grand Theft Auto literally put that phrase in the fucking game. Think about it. It's not for bullshit. Even understanding Back to the Future would have made us understand Marty McFly. Wordplay. Now let's confirm some of our clues and some of our paths and finds along the way. Aaron Paul, Need for Speed, Great Scott, okay, and even understanding when clues like, once again, Michael Keaton, okay, tying into Beetlejuice, 1988, okay, tying right back into clues that we were supposed to understand, like Miss Gina Davis, okay, The Fly. Now I want you guys to realize this is what I mean by the little clues. And yes, for those of you who understand, I know this sounds repetitive, but we have new listeners, and I need you guys to understand that this is a process that people need to gain along the way, otherwise they'll be confused. Now, understanding that, once again, Gina Davis is a clue, we have to understand, once again, a segregation of a word and or a name, Davis, okay? These clues were vast, and they were right in front of our eye. Not only did they give us a segregative clue, but they gave us an entire city called Davis, you guys. I mean, think about it. Now, if there's one thing I want you guys to understand about this woman, is the fact that in real life, okay, she was married to Mr. Jeff Goldblum, okay? Seriously. Now, I want you to realize, once again, Jeff Goldblum ties to everything in this mystery, and I mean it, everything I've brought up. From dinosaurs to The Fly, okay, even Independence Day, Law and Order, and every single thing that has to tie within all of these segregation clues. Now, a lot of people have wanted me to talk about these fucking pictures at the fucking gallery here, and honestly, I will. I will talk about a lot of these things coming, and I just want you guys to understand it's a lot, okay? And that's the reason why I haven't touched it just yet. I have been dealing with a lot of the clues, but they will come. one thing I am going to make notice here before we do go, and that is within my last episode, I actually showed a big relevancy towards legend and why it correlates within things in the game. Now, what I do find interesting is that within the movie, there was a part where Jack actually cut off
The hand.
of darkness. What's even more interesting here is that this figure, okay, is missing a hand. And there's a hand bone right here with 8 fingers. Very interesting. Now, for those of you asking yourselves, did you just waste 30 minutes watching a video that had nothing to do with what you think you're looking for? Now, I want you to ask yourself a real question here. Why is it that on one of the very first movie posters for The Fly, you guys, the one that actually says, be afraid, be very afraid, has a hand, and on this hand is a fly on the thumb? Now I ask you, why is this related to Trevor's hand?